Benny Del Negro, Mike Dunleavy before him, even Doc Rivers. It seems like it's a mundane stat, but it's very indicative of how well you are playing defensively.
It really is. I mean, I came into the league playing for Rick Pitino with Boston, and that was the main thing that he spoke about was deflections. Not steals, not blocks. It was all about deflections. And, I mean, we were a really scrappy team because of that.
Clippers were not good in that category. Talking with assistant coach Rex Kalamian a couple of weeks ago, he's hoping to improve not just deflections, but steals. And I've got some good news for Rex. Both Kawhi and Paul George, top 3 in both categories. Nice drive, blocked off the backboard by Montrez. And a blocking foul.
Look at Montrez. I mean, constant huge motor out there, very good. And you know, that's one of the things that people look at and say, with the Clippers this year, do they have some rim protection? And Montrez is very much improved last year defensively, and you look at him right there, he's going to be there to make plays.
Magruder with a clever little play down the lane. First hoop for him. Nunley overthrown. Turnover number 12 against the Sharks.
You're the Clippers. You're saying that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to impose your defensive prowess today and try to turn this team over, and not only turn them over, turn it into baskets.
Nice two-man game with Walton and Montrez. I mean, we've seen 32 flavors already from Montrez. Mid-range jumpers, dunks, and nice little finesse off the glass.
Just a matchup nightmare. Just a matchup nightmare, Brian. Montrez is.
Back-to-back turnovers on Shanghai. Now 13. The previous 12 have led to 17 Clipper points.
Went to his bag right here. A little up and under spin off the glass. I mean, he's tough down there. He really is.
Was in the top 3 for 6th man of the year. He was all happy for Lou Williams. He said it during the season. It's Lou's reward. But the fact that he got some consideration was pretty much a no-brainer. This is Walton Jr. And Lin with the rebound. Quickly gets it ahead to Yu Chin. Two former Rockets. Clever move by Mona Eunice. Memphis Summit by Harkless. A whistle and a foul.
It's actually a nice play right there. Montrez was playing him hard. Nice spin move. It's an NBA move. As you said, he should be in the NBA somewhere.
It was a contractual thing, both with the Rockets and then the Brooklyn Nets. Mota Eunice sinks the first of 2 free throws. Clippers' 10-game plans are now on sale. You'll get to choose from 4 different plans and be guaranteed access to some of the biggest games of the season against opponents like the Rockets and the Warriors. Visit clippers.com/partial plans today. Clippers out in front by 15. 8.5 to play in the half. Back to Honolulu after this. And you see the score. Clippers look much better than they did the other night, but right now it's time for Haggle, no haggle, Chauncey, brought to you by CarMax.
I like this.
Here's my question for you. Is 55 wins good enough to win the Western Conference? Haggle or no haggle? Look at that. See, we're on the same page now.
I think 55 will get it done. 57 last year. A lot of these teams will be beating up on each other all year. 55 is probably a good number.
As you and I have talked about, there really is not an easy win in the Western Conference. The key for Clipper fans to pay attention to, and then we don't have a schedule of how many games Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Knock on wood, everybody's healthy. It's not about October. It's not about the win total in the regular season. It's 100% about health.
Yes.
And how you're feeling going into mid-April and hopefully through June. So if
Yes.
the Clippers don't win a franchise high in terms of wins, which is 57, no one's going to lose any sleep as long as everybody's healthy.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's all about being healthy when the playoffs start. I mean, you want to be healthy and you want to be cohesive and as a unit. Other than that, nothing else matters.
It's a great note at the bottom there. 55 wins or less. 1983 and 4. You look at the last 10 years,
Wow.
Chauncey. 8 of the last 10. The best in the West has won 60 or more games.
Wow.
Including, in a way, that lockout year. Montrez in mid-range knocks it down. The Spurs won 50 games. That would have been the equivalent of 62. But the West is so much more competitive than it has ever been, and I mean that in the best way possible. It is going to be such a blast. Every single night is a massive game.
Well, I've never seen the parity in the Western Conference that we're seeing right now.
We have a double technical here. Kawhi is unimpressed with the officiating in that court. Magruder handed the citation. What happens if a Shanghai Shark player gets a technical, Chauncey? Can you tell me and walk me through the finding process for the international team?
That's a very, very good question there.
Yu Chin. Hanlon blocked by Mo Harkless, who continues to impress here today. Usually hesitation is the best defender. Montrez with a brief hesitation, although knocked that shot down a couple of possessions prior. Nunley misfires. Robinson runs the show. Great screen by Trez.
And that was a very good play right there by Jerome Robinson, reading the defender. The defender went up under the screen. He took his time, got his feet set, and just knocked it down.
Zhao Zhu inside, 7-3. 23. Ming Shin runs over Robinson, and it's an offensive foul.
Talk about versatility and Mo Harkless being able to guard 4 and 5 positions. That was an awesome defense right there, knowing his personnel.
Harkless, by the way, you mentioned his defense. How about his offense? He's taken 5 shots. He's tied an NBA record. He's made all 5 of them. To start a game, 11 points for Harkless off the bench. Oh, I thought I put the jinx on him. Impossible in Hawaii. Mo Harkless, 14 off the bench in 10 minutes.
I was about to call you a black cat if you missed that shot, man. It happened 4 times. You caused it in the first game.
You kept track of that, Chauncey?
I did.
Nice drive inside by Ming Shin. Mo Harkless is unstoppable in this first half.
Supreme athlete. I mean, he can do a lot of beautiful things out on that floor.
He called a couple of years ago a rehab year for him. Finally at 100% coming into training camp, and you can see the results right now. 7 for 7, 16 points, 3 rebounds. Nunley, whistle, offensive foul. 15 turnovers here in the first half. That has helped fuel the offense for the Clippers, 22 points.
You watch Mo Harkless working right here, not taking for granted he was going to make that nice putback dunk right there.
There's Harkless. Last few years in Portland. It was a savvy trade for the Clippers, really, to acquire a first-round pick, help the Blazers with some cap space, and now it helps the Clippers on the floor. And that trade, you have to think, aided in the ability for the Clippers to get Paul George. Magruder bump going up. He'll strut to the line for a couple of free throws.
That's a good job by Rodney Magruder. The play kind of broke down. He continued to move, back cut, creating an advantage just to try to get to the free throw line. Very good play by Rodney Magruder.
Magruder, 12 points and 3 assists. against the Rockets back on Thursday. Friday, the Ford CIF Southern Section High School Football Game of the Week returns for Week 7. Sherman Oaks as Notre Dame faces Sierra and Gardenia. Complete coverage begins at 7:30 on Fox Sports West and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Did you play high school football?
No, I stopped playing football in the middle school, but I love football. That's just maybe my favorite sport, to be honest with you.
How did your Broncos do today?
My Broncos got busy today. We was 0-4. We hopped on the Chargers today. Sorry, Los Angeles.
I feel like you're not happy about that, though.
I'm really not. I'm kind of on the tank for Tua thing right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. 0-4, we pretty much out of it. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's tank for Tua.
We took a step backwards in that process here today.
Yes.
10 misses there.
We did.
Ball will stay on the same side. We have it contractually obligated to be on camera 17 times a game. It's in my contract. I don't know about yours.
Well, I mean, you know, I can't say that I'm disappointed about that, Brian. It's okay. You know, everybody needs to see this Hawaiian shirt that I have on.
I just went with a regular golf polo today. I apologize.
Oh, is that what you did?
That's what I did.
Oh,
this
okay.
is my normal.
I mean, those look like roses. Like, I don't know about that, but that's okay, though. You know.
But it's silky. It's very nice.
Oh, it is very nice. It is very nice.
And Chin into Zhao Zhu.
Oh.
The Clippers lead. You can see the score. The Sharks are not bad at basketball overall. These are good skilled players. The CBA is a reputable league. Lots of NBA basketball players head over there at some point of their career. Jermichael Green with his second triple of a game.
And in the NBA, if you can have an offense where you can create open corner three-point shots, you're doing a good job.
What can the Clippers take away without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in these lineups here in the preseason? I know it's an adjustment when they come back. What can these guys focus in on?
Well, there's a ton to be accomplished, you know, without Kawhi and Paul George. You know, one, you have to find out, you know, there's a lot of new guys on the team. You have to get to know one another. You have to get to know one another's strengths and weaknesses. Those things won't change when Paul George and Kawhi come back. So they did a great job of it last year. This year, you know, you have to try to create some kind of synergy before your stars come back. That's the goal, in my opinion.
Coming up at halftime, brought to you by Cadillac. We'll be talking about the nice first half here for the Clippers. The center for the Clippers, and Mo Harkless's great first half. How about flip it? Look at Paul George, look at Kawhi Leonard. There's a built-in chemistry with this team. There's a built-in identity with this team. You tell me, when you come into a situation like that, what would you be mindful of, yet trying to be yourself?
Well, trust me, they've been watching this team when they had to sit out. Nice play right there by Jerome Robinson. He's having a very good first half, Brian. He really is. But if you're Paul and Kawhi right now, you're just watching everything that goes on. You're trying to find out who these guys are on and off the floor. You're going to have to come in and lead. You're understanding the play calls on both ends of the floor. You know, you're really like, they're in training camp too. Just like you and I are in training camp, we're trying to get to know each other. So are those two guys. So is the whole team. So there's a lot of work to be done, although they can't do it physically at the moment.
Can you have too many leaders? You've got Pat, the emotional leader. Lou is the leader of the second line. Trez is the emotional leader of that second line. And then obviously your two best players with Kawhi and Paul George.
Well, great leaders respect each other. So I don't think that you can have, they all lead in different ways. I mean, Kawhi will be leading in the way that he plays so hard and he's so serious every single night. Paul George will be leading in ways that he's led teams before. So you can't have too many. You just have to respect each other's, you know, I guess their best ways of leading, and put it all in the pot and say, okay, let's do what we have to do.
Last year in Hawaii, after the first practice, they had a film session, and Doc brought everybody together, and he said, to be a great leader, you have to be a great follower as well.
100%.
There's one of the many leaders right there.
We've seen him the other night. He is in mid-season form already, Lou Williams.
Landry Shamet will get there. I am not concerned about his 0 for 5 effort tonight and his 1 for 7 shooting against the Rockets back on Thursday. We know who he is.
I agree with you. I mean, I got no concerns at all about Landry Shamet. He'll be there when we need him. The thing that I do like about him, no, he's not making jump shots, but it hasn't changed up the way that he's competing on the defensive end.
Sharks call time, want to talk things over. Clippers running away with it here in Honolulu. You see Chauncey's picks, you see my picks. While those are important for sure, Vegas is not in the business to lose money. And when Las Vegas says you are the odds-on favorite, you've done something pretty special. And the Clippers right now are the odds-on favorite to win the championship. It's not crazy when we know the roster, but when you look at everything else down that list, it's very interesting to see. There are so many good teams, and you and I talked about this yesterday. We talked about the Denvers, the Utahs. No one talks about the Blazers. You had a number 5 on your list.
Well, you look at the Blazers, and like I say, I think they have an awesome, also one of the best leaders in our game in Damian Lillard. Okay, they go to the Western Conference Finals last year, and they get better. They bring on a couple other players and they've gotten better. But I think there's literally probably 6 teams, counting that Utah Jazz team that I think they'll have a shot too, that can possibly win the championship in the Western Conference. 6 teams that can win it all. I don't think that we've ever been able to say that before, Brian.
And I just love the way the league has gone. Instead of having 3 and then even sometimes 5 stars like we saw with the Warriors, it's now a pair of stars, and it just opens it up. Every single night is just going to be a crazy adventure, and then you come playoff time. It truly will be wide open in the West. And we mentioned how many wins will it take to win the West. To me, and we talked about this earlier, it's all about the tiebreakers. And what does that do? That means the games in October that some people say, we don't need to worry about it. It's going to be massive. Those 3-game series are going to be massive to pull away those tiebreakers.
Well, you know, it's going to be interesting because in this, you know, this time of load management and guys taking days off and things like that, having a deep roster is going to be a big deal. Having a deep roster will be a huge deal. So, like you said, you know, that 3rd game in 5 nights, you know, and you on a back-to-back in, you know, in Memphis, you know, you there's some pressure to win those games, and that it hasn't been like that before. But we'll be able to circle some games on the schedule and say, man, we need to get this one tonight.
You know, you looked at Kawhi last year when he was in Toronto, and there is load management. He was asked about that not only at his introduction but at media day. He says, I'm healthy. I don't sense, at least coming from Kawhi, that he's going to be sitting out 20 to 25 games for load management. Knock on wood that it's not an injury. It sounded like to me he's ready to play a considerable amount of games, certainly a lot more than he did a year ago. And Pat Beverly throws down his calling card, jogs back the other way, and picks up his 2nd charge of the first half.
We look at Pat Beverly, you know, I like this play. I love this play right here, but what you didn't see is right before that, he turned the basketball over. If you get a guy that can turn it over and get it back that quickly, that's an amazing play by Pat Beverly.
Chris Paul was the best I ever saw do that.
Chris Paul was awesome at that. You're right. Yes. He actually got mad when he turned the basketball over and made him play harder defensively. Pat Beverly has that in him.
In a great way. Chris always seemed mad to me. I mean that in a competitive
he's
spirit
a
way.
Competitive dude, man. Chris he's one of the best players I ever played against in my life, and he was so good and so competitive. Or still is so good, actually.
I'm curious. We didn't talk about Oklahoma City on that list. I don't know if I would have them on that list, but I look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's got another great opportunity to learn. Last year it was Lou Williams.
Well, Brian, there's so many teams in the West that weren't on that list that there won't be any easy wins. OKC will be tough. Dallas has 2 studs. on their team, and Luka and KP, Porzingis, they will be tough. Minnesota has two. I mean, there's some good teams out there that aren't contending for a championship, but they're really, really, really good.
Clippers up big. The first half, back after this. We were talking about how good Chris Paul was for the Clippers, currently still is now with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Go back to June 2017. Chris goes to Houston in the trade, and coming back is the culture setters for the team right now that was attractive to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard.
I'll tell you what, and what a wonderful, wonderful trade by Lawrence Frank, who doesn't get enough credit, to be honest with you. I mean, Lawrence has done an amazing job, but that's one trade right there. You're talking about those are three of your top 6, 7 players, okay? And they're all still here, all still playing well. Chris's career is still vibrant and going well, but he's not even in Houston anymore. Wonderful, wonderful move right there by Lawrence Frank in the front office.
It was a move that may have been forced on them. I feel like the Clippers needed to do a reset. Nice job there by Nunley. They needed to press the reset button. And I will never forget it when Jerry West was introduced about 2 weeks earlier as being a consultant with the Clippers. And you had an idea of what was to come when he said this: things that are right are not always popular. Things that are popular are not always right. And I remember thinking, what's his plan? Is he going to sign Chris Paul? Is he going to trade Blake Griffin? You had no idea at that moment in time what Jerry's input was going to be. And Jerry, Lawrence, Michael Winger, Mark Hughes, Trent Redden, they have literally only made great decisions ever since that day. And now they have put themselves 2 years later into a championship position.
Awesome job. I mean, some of the guys that are sitting up under Lawrence will be running franchises very soon, I'm sure, because, you know, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, you know.
So both Trent Redden and both Michael Winger were offered, in terms of responsibilities, bigger roles in other organizations. Think about when you first started with the Clippers. For somebody to not move on in a promotion but choosing to stay with the Clippers tells you all you need to know about the transformation in that front office.
Well, sometimes you want to see it through. You know, you put all this work in, and you have now an opportunity to win a championship. You want to be a part of that because you are a part of that. So going and rebuilding and going to a tough situation is not always attractive when you're in such the beautiful situation that the Clippers are in.
I know Lawrence always talks about, everybody really in that front office talks about, there's no egos. No one's looking for the credit. Jerry West has done a great job, and he has a loud voice. But all those other guys are doing work as well. But people tend to say, Jerry did this, Jerry did that. And you never hear anybody complain about it. Jerry's fingerprints are all over everything, obviously.
Sure.
But there's a team effort up there.
You okay, boy? Yeah, I'll get there. I'll get this one.
Did you talk to Jerry much as a player? Did your paths cross all that often?
Not that much. We've become a lot closer in the last probably 4 or 5 years. I'm really close with Ryan West, his son, who the Clippers are lucky to have in their front office as well, and Johnny West, and you guys are like family to me. So Jerry, obviously, I've had some funny times spending time with Jerry.
It amazes me how long he has been around. His eye is as sharp as it has ever been.
Oh yeah. And he knows this game, and he knows players. He can evaluate. I mean, he's still performing at a very high level.
Clippers are lucky to have him. Clippers up big with some full court press here, essentially. How about this? Only 8 turnovers for the Clippers after having 22. Back on Thursday, they have forced in just this first half 18. Final seconds in this first half. Clippers will lead. Going into the break, the question will be by how much. Walton Jr. in and out. A tough rebound by Pat Beverly. Pops right back up.
I just love everything about Pat Beverly. I mean, I just do. I mean, you sitting here, you're up 30 points, you're playing against the Shanghai Sharks. It's the second game of the preseason, and he is playing as hard as he can possibly play.
Our Sarah Takata, pre-game, post-game producer, did a wonderful story with him before the bigs. Go and find it. It is on YouTube. And it will, if you're like, oh, that Pat Beverly seems like a nice guy. Well, he's an incredible story. His mother is amazing. Clippers, I just love watching him play for reasons just like that.
I mean, just look at that.
Get in there. Oh! We might have had the highlight of the year in the second preseason game. What a finish. What a finish.
Play by Pat Beverly.
The Clippers out in front 63
wow,
to
you look
34.
at the hustle. He shot a free throw, hustled back. I mean, if you're Doc, you might have to just sit him down because he just plays too hard.
Totally agree. And we send it over to Jamie Maggio with another star of the first half, Ivica Zubac.
Brian, thank you so much. Ivica, you played 10 minutes in the first half, 6 points and 6 boards. You're perfect from the field. Coming into the season, Doc praised you, saying that you came into camp ready. You had dropped some pounds, you put on some muscle. Yeah. Can you feel that difference on the floor?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel in my running, and every time I bump into someone, I feel like I'm the strongest guy on the court, and you know, it helps me worry a lot with my game.
In terms of the game today, what Doc wanted you guys to work on from game 1, what has the team been able to be effective with here in game 2?
You know, he just wanted us to play our game, get back in. First game we struggled a little bit with getting back in transition, getting back on defense. You know, we worked on that yesterday, and I think we're doing a really good job today. We can still do better.